the sun is a black hole, it's at 19.47. Richard C. Hoagland says it's at 19.5. Let's make that 19.5. And I use what I call intuitive and fuzzy logic. That is, find parallels, things that make sense. So I do what I do. Call me the crazy man or the Renaissance man, but first off, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 5 is 15. Since it's not a double, as in 1, 1, or 2, 2, which you leave alone because these are master numbers, you have to single out the digit. So as I single out the digit, it becomes a 6. What is the 6 representative for? First off, your Markovic field. Once it's in the correct bin, it's hexagonal. The better weather patterns around the poles on planets are what? Hexagonal. What does that mean? These are holographic access points for wormholes. And each planet has one. Every planet is a gateway. So, I am totally confirming to when I talk to my Arcturian brothers and sisters and to the Esasani that the sun flares are cyclical in nature. They get spit out on one end and sucked in on the other end. If you watch certain recordings and you zoom in, you see one is outward and one is in reverse. If you take the sun for a spin, such as Nassim did with the recording of the sun activity, you see a spot up there, and you draw a line through the sun, and on the other side is another spot. And all of the spots, when they occur, are connected. Then you have different recordings. I'm just throwing it out there to leave yourself open for a possibility of a true moment in time. The actual time, that is. The real reality. So every time a spot appears, we have that in reverse. Meaning, there's something going on. So at times you see lights. Just say lights. Call it what you will. Traveling into these vortexes. Sunbursts. As a reaction. Hydrogen is being released. Which some of you want to debate that or you don't know of. There's a database that I have access to with my cerebral cortex that says hydrogen is being moved. So one thing is, if you understand, is that the sun is not only a black hole, the sun is a planet. Map that out with a trip that I had 7 years ago. I was completely lucid. The human part of me thought that I lost my mind, and then the extraterrestrial part of me came in and activated and calmed me down and began to integrate. You know, when you at that state and your brain hemisphere is synchronized and you at 40 hertz, you see that the sun is a planet. The sun is a planet where ascended beings live. If you vibrationally match the sun, you will find a planet looking just like Earth. Since our vibrational match is so different that we are on such a low bandwidth, the sun is so bright that you can't even look in because it oscillates on that frequency. Let's keep it simple. Now back to Earth. A volcano, just three-dimensionally observed, is what? An opening to the inner works of the Earth. Check the geometries of the fault lines. check the geometries of ancient places, and then you find out that certain volcanoes are placed where? 19.5. Now, why is that? Because, let me break it down. No one has ever broken that down. It's a 15-dimensional grid network that you need in order to travel through time, through universes, and skip distance. That is what the races that come and go all the time. They never left. They just went into the background, and we got a little bit blinder, a little bit deafer, and a little bit dumber. A volcano is an access point. Whether the volcano in 3D is active or not doesn't matter. Hyperdimensionally speaking, it remains active. It is an opening. And ships can move in and out. Ships have what they must have in order to travel through a singular core, a singular network, a warp drive that is based on singular technology, meaning it cannot be influenced by dualistic laws. That's why it's so dangerous for the higher ones. If they would manifest down here, they become subject to the law that governs the earth. Why earth is, for us and the unknowns and the rest, still inaccessible. Physically, we can't walk into these gates because we don't vibrationally match these gates. This is secure. And one of my favorite songs from Africa Bambaataa says, no matter how hard you try, you can't stop the funk. That's what's to come. It's like the source returns with a default setting to engage you to make a choice to travel again. And then you can travel through a gate according to your vibrational frequency. So what I'm saying is, Hoagland is right, to me. Nassim is right. And in order to access these points, you need to attract this energy. And not only through machinery, understand, to be hyperdimensional is a state of being. And your brain is a quantum mechanical supercomputer that has the capacity to go there. Meaning, if you know the pathway back to the rabbit hole, synaptically speaking, you can always access Wonderland. It's not a myth. This is what this story gave you. In the second book, when Alice returns, she remembers the path to the rabbit hole. What is the rabbit hole? What is the rabbit hole? It's a vortex. When traveling that vortex, nothing makes sense. You're losing your mind. Why? Because you're losing your construct that is based on the reality that you grew up in. And you accept it as real. You accept it as an absolute, like Isaac Newton, gravity. It's not an absolute. Why do you think Earth has gravity? Because it's a black hole of a different level. Why do you think the sun has gravity? Because it's a black hole. And my theory is a super black hole is not even visible. Or might be even a negative aspect of such, because it's just black and sucks and everything. Maybe that it's a collapsed one. Who knows? We'll find that out very soon. Very soon a lot of things will clear up. And don't expect your government to do that. You will do that for yourself. As you investigate yourself. What else? The creator god of the ancient Egyptian gods is called Atum. Atum. Which is what can't be divided. The undividable. The undivided. If that isn't an ancient scripture, it baffles me that the human race shoots at an atom, takes it apart, and the force of destruction releases energy that they need to run their systems. And the decay of that, what is left over, can take up to 200,000 years, and you want to just put it in Earth. One thing to that, when you blow up an atomic bomb, not only that you blow up this hemisphere, you blow up multi-dimensional layers of timelines and create ripples and rifts. No wonder why Earth is under quarantine. Now imagine these people running wild, blowing up planets as they like. They will blow up the entire construct of existence as it is, just playing that game. So whoever works in nuclear physics that doesn't understand that is very much asleep, sorry to say. And the intel that I'm getting, and I'm beginning to work on this, and I'm not a doctor or physicist or whatever you want to label me. I am Ra from ancient times, and I only can bring back what I've remembered from that time. The secret of the energy that you seek, and I will be, mark my words, the first one to mention this on YouTube in the world. I don't believe any document has ever mentioned that, and I only have bits and pieces. The secret of the zero field energy of how these ships travel, and what we need, and what will be the ultimate freedom, healing, and everything. Meaning you have the etheric field, which is the informational field. You take information, you borrow, and you give back. And in between borrowing the information, you utilize it just like a tool. So there's no loss. There can never ever be a loss. So the secret is hydrogen. You got to concentrate on hydrogen. And something that hasn't been found yet to my knowledge. The secret lies in the nuclear reservoir of hydrogen. In the periodic table, hydrogen is called what? 111. Why do you think that number appears all the time? Is you have to put your focus upon hydrogen. And I put out another theory, or a feeling that I have, a suspicion. If you're a scientist and you invent something that drastically changes the course of history, and let's use Einstein. Could it not be that Einstein did not find his formula by himself? Could it not be that a race intelligent enough that would work somewhat like in the movie The Adjustment Bureau, dabbled with Einstein's synapses, dabbled with his scribblings in his book, enabled him to find the formula? You know, imagine the course of history, how we go from sticks and stones and all of a sudden somebody knows how to split the atom. How does that go? Evolutionary and mind-wise and perception-wise, somebody had a hand in that. So they turn this guy into a trigger, giving him the formula of a negative aspect. You know, the future is to work on the positive side of radiation, not on the negative. I'm talking about photonic acceleration, which will come, which will be built, which is in the works. Not published yet. Little experiments run. We have machines that can even neutralize radiation. So next year will be a very interesting year for what's to come. So again, in the process of manipulation, you pick a scientist, you manipulate him, you give him a formula. He thinks that he found the formula in his own mind, which I don't believe. And look at the damage it has done. And who profits from that? And that is over now, because it's coming out. And everybody that works in the void of knowing what they're doing, you have a chance to make a different choice. Imagine what happened some time ago when a bomb blew up and millions died. And the rest years later of nuclear radiation. You caused souls to be disembodied, put them in a frequency of limbo. They had no bodies to incarnate back into. They couldn't finish the evolutionary process. And karmically, for that process, a lot of people lost their mind involved. A lot of people karmically owe. It's not too late to understand what you're doing and understand what you're doing, what you're about to do. You have a chance to make a difference.